What's cracking, people? Angelic Mayhem here, and welcome to Sunless Sea. This is going to be a state of the beta. This game is in early access, available on Steam. It actually came out back in July. However, they just had an update to their combat system. So I started playing it again. I'm now up to 10 hours, and I got to tell you, this thing's pretty good. I'm really enjoying it. So I just wanted to kind of put together a little video so that you can see the game for yourself and then decide if it's right for you. So basically, this is the main menu. One of the things that I really like about this game is that down here in the bottom right hand corner, which is something that I would recommend for every single early access game ever, is the patch notes. Literally, you can just see everything that they just recently changed, which is fantastic. I don't have to go around, looking for them. They're right here. So I think that was a really cool idea. But so anyway, continue is obviously where we're going to go. New game, load game as usual. Options menu. The music is meh, after 10-15 minutes, you kind of turn it off or whatever. The sound effects, though, are really good. I've turned them off for this video just so that you can hear me better, but for the most part, especially when you're in combat or something like that, I really like the sound effects. So I think they did a good job there. Video settings, I really wish that they had a little bit more, but then again, it's the beta, so, hopefully that will come somewhere down the pike. Resolution, 1280 by 768. There is no 1280 by 720, so I didn't have that option, which is why you're looking at Letterbox. All right, let's get out of this. All this is usual stuff. Playfall in London will actually take you out to their website. Now, this game was developed by Fail Better Games, okay, which... as you can see here, they developed Fall in London. That was the first game. It's not really a sequel per se, but it's part of the same, the same world, if you will. In Fall in London, so the deal is that you are living in London, but London is like an alternative universe where the undead are ruling. So there's zombies and things like that all over the place. In this game, they take you out of the city and actually allow you to sail around the world in your little boat. So that's kind of what we were going to be looking at here. I really like this game because when I was a kid, I used to read a lot of Choose Your Own Adventure books. And, this has the same sort of stuff. I mean, the stories in this are very similar in the way that they function. So hopefully I'll be able to kind of explain that to you. Let me just close this down for a second. You can see here, I mean, it's very stylized, very steampunk. I really like the way that they did the top-down version of the game as opposed to like an isometric or something like that, which... once we get to sailing, you'll kind of understand like why it is that was such a good idea. But I mean, without question, the decisions that they made in this game were all about let's focus on the story and less on challenging you with the mechanics of the game, that sort of stuff. So let me kind of bring this back up. So this is what is your journal. Okay, now you have these different tabs here at the top. Echoes is the amount of gold that you have. Basically, that is the in-game currency. And then this is the options menu, which just brings this up. The most important one is the story. This is the one you're going to be looking at the most. Whenever you pull into a port, you will have a series of stories that you can participate in. Some of them will be locked depending upon what you have found and what you have not found. Also, some of them require echoes, so if you're particularly poor at any given moment, you might not be able to do something. For instance, if you want to send your crew, which in this case I have 7 sailors, so if you want to send them onto the island so that they can have a day of rest, you have to pay for 7 sailors to live on land for a little bit. So that's going to cost you some money. If you don't have the money for that, then obviously you can't do that, and so thus they get grumpy. Up here, so this is you, okay? I'm Zam. And then, now I was not originally Zam, but I'll talk about that in a minute. You also, as you're going along, you can pick up different guys who live on your boat, okay? So I have like a mascot, this surgeon, a gunnery guy, etc., etc. And they buff these different statistics in unique ways, which is nice. Now, when I started, this cook came with and this mascot came with, but everybody else I had to find along the way. And you can replace them as you see fit. So if I switch over here to officers, you can actually see I own 2 chief engineers. So I could actually swap these out at any time. And this guy gives me fuel efficiency, whereas this guy gives me some other stuff. So, it depends on the situation and who I want with me. All right, so now, again, back to the story. There are different places on the island, and you're basically using the text on the screen and your own imagination to kind of build the story for you. So, for instance, if I go to my lodgings, one of the things here is that I can actually spend the night, okay, which requires 10 echo. Again, that's the gold coins. It also requires me to have at least a little bit of fear, because that's what spending the night is. It's about reducing fear. And then it also has this other thing. Oh, you have to have the room. So you have to have a place to actually sleep. And once you have all these things, if you click go, then it will actually say, okay, congratulations, you had a restful night, which isn't always the case. But, you know, for the most part, 99.999% of the time it is. I lost 1 terror, which is good. And then I lost my 10 echo. So I'm down a little bit of gold. We click continue. All right, so there's all kinds of different stuff here. Like you can write a will so that if you die, you can then give your stuff to your next of kin. And then, you know, obviously after you have the will, now you can go down here and you can do all kinds of stuff where, you know, you can buy different houses and things like that, all because you now have a will. And there's all kinds of different currency items in this game. So let me switch over to the journal. These are all the currencies that I've picked up along the way. I have Adventurer's Venture. So when I want to talk to this guy, I can spend this on one of his quests. Same is true of Terror, technically. Even though Terror is bad for you, there are certain places in the game that you can't unlock unless your crew is incredibly terrified. So all of these things, and these are also interchangeable, by the way. So, like, for instance, this Iron Republic days, I can actually go into the shops and swap it for, let's say, I can swap like 2 of these for one of these other ones. So if I had an area that I couldn't get into because I didn't have enough of a currency, I could swap this around, not openly, but, you know, I might get lucky. You know, maybe if I need this, I can swap this for that, and then I can open up that quest. I really love that there are like dozens and dozens of currencies in the game. There's stuff that I have found that isn't actually here at the moment because I spent it someplace else, you know, in order to unlock certain things. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can find. Here's my hold. Basically, you have, you know, fuel and supplies is how you get around. Okay, you got to feed your guys while you're out on the ocean, and you got to have fuel in order to make your boat go. Then there's all this other stuff, which I have just kind of like found while I was going around. I have a choice of I can sell this if I really want to, or I can kind of hold on to it. And then if I find somebody who wants this in order to launch a quest, then I already have it. So I don't have to go back home, buy it, and then come back. All right, so again, the story now, let me just take you through this real quick. The Admiral, he is at the beginning of the game, I would say 99% of everything that you're going to do. You are going out on fetch quests for the Admiral, in exchange for which he's going to give you a ton of gold. And then you're going to be able to buy the fuel and the supplies that you need in order to get around. So far, I haven't been able to save any gold, okay? No chance to buy a ship. No chance to really get into some of these other things in the shops, you know, and buy some of these amazing things and maybe do some stuff. You know, it's been very, you know, I started off with, I'd say, I think it was like 50 gold or something like that. And here I am at 22, you know what I mean? Now, I purchased all my fuel, so I'm ready to go back out. But as you're playing the game, there are a lot of ups and downs. And it's very difficult to actually accelerate yourself other than in terms of currency, okay? So to get... Let me go back to the ship. So to get an auxiliary or to get a bridge item, I can't save up any money for that. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's just one of these things that maybe it's just a balance issue that in beta they can kind of work that out. But at the moment, it's a little tricky. So I'm just throwing that out there. All right, so I think we covered all of these tabs. And so now let me just take you back into journal. I think it's this one. This is the Admiralty Commission. And you'll see it says retrieve strategic information from Wither, which is far to the north. If we open up our map, we can plan where we want to go. So this is Wither up here. I'll be going to this port. And so we are going to have to sail from right here, which is where I am. To go all the way up here. That's not as long of a trip as it would seem because it's straight up as opposed to heading out over here somewhere. This is a long distance. But here's the full map that I've unlocked so far. There are certain places like down here, this and the Dawn Machine and some other stuff. These are not available in the beta yet. So you can find them, but technically they're not really there. You know what I mean? So you kind of weigh that when you decide if you want to invest in the beta or if you want to wait for the full thing to come out. You know, some of this stuff you won't be able to get to. Also, there's a couple issues where, like, when you pull into port, sometimes the game breaks a little bit where, so for instance, let me pull this back out and we'll go in here. So I have a currency here for the Admiral, all right? And it's not this, it's one of these other ones. Oh, here it is, Admiralty's Favor. So at one point I had 11 Admiralty's Favor and the guy loved me and life was going great. And then I did this weird thing in the story where I clicked on something and it said, congratulations, you got another Admiralty's Favor, which theoretically would have been 12, except it set me back to 0. So I don't know exactly what happened there. I'm pretty sure that it was just an error in the beta, but you know, that's kind of one of these things that in this case is very annoying. You know what I mean? All right. So again, so I'm just going to set off and then I'll kind of talk you through it because I know where I'm going. So I'm going to hit E. And we are off. Now up here, this is your helm. It lets you know how fast you're going. You can obviously switch back into reverse and then turn your ship around. I don't want to do that. Up here, you'll notice that the fuel goes 2% at 2% at a time, unless I turn off my lights. Okay. Now it will go 1% at a time. Now, the question becomes, all right, well, why don't you just leave your lights off all the time? Well, this is the Sunless Sea, and so floating around in pure darkness usually freaks people out. So your terror will shoot through the roof. You want to avoid that by staying in the light. I got a combat here. This is going to suck. Oh, he's nothing. He's only a 30. So, combat, right? We want to avoid this guy, let our shooting solution go. Oh, I just ran into something. There we go. And then wail on him. All right, so he just took a shot, but he missed. I got to turn in order to get to him because my gun is on the front deck. He's trying to outmaneuver me. Oh, hello. You've begun to dream of this isn't one of the... All right, so let me pause here for a second. This is incredibly annoying, okay? When you're in the middle of combat, you shouldn't have pop-ups. Also, when you go into port, you shouldn't have pop-ups either. And both things happen... The pop-ups other than what you would normally have in port. Okay, so both of those happen. They need to stop happening. That's very annoying. Oh, and I have to do this. You cannot evade its gaze. Vast eye. Yeah. Suffer nightmares of the vast eye. All right, now you see that? And now I shoot him, and now he's dead. All right, so the first thing that I have to do is I have to hit all clear, okay, in order to stop my people from freaking out at an unusual rate. And then I can float into the crap that he left behind, and obviously this is loot. We get a cache of curiosities, we open it immediately, and we gain 2 supplies, which is actually really nice. That comes in handy. In order to repair the damage, you actually have to use up supplies. So it's kind of a balance between feeding your people and having a ship that works. All right, I'm going to skip these ports. I'm just going to keep going north, and I'm going to shut this down because I'm going to be able to see what's going on. The interface is all right. I like it. But the problem is, like, so you see, you know, this is open, and so I can't see up. And then, you know, like this is here, so if there was a guy there, I wouldn't be able to see that. I really wish that they would take this and bump it over to either the left or the right, preferably the right, but, you know, that's just me. And also, I'd like to be able to get rid of the logbook because you have no idea how often there's somebody right here, and look how close they are to your ship. You know, they're like right on top of you before you ever see them. So that's incredibly annoying to go down and to the left. And then this one, all right, so now now that we're floating around, you can see like this here is just a help me thing, which brings up the normal help. But every now and then you'll get like an extra thing where, you know, like it'll pop up here, it'll be like a nice rectangle like this, and it'll be like an event, and then you can enjoy that. I'm going to pull an Inventor Bright because I want to pick something up. Down here you have a Z-Bat. Everything is Z because it's zombie. That's why they're pronounced that. All right, so the Z-Bat, he goes out, he looks around, he comes back, and he tells you if there's something that you haven't found yet within his range, which is usually like, say, to this corner of the screen. All right, so we'll slow down there, and we'll go on the dock. I'm hoping... No, I didn't unlock any of this stuff. Okay. Oops. Tomb Colony. Whenever you go into port, you want to make sure that you actually get a port report. Challenges. All right, so now whenever you unlock a story, there are different options. Okay, now you could ignore it altogether, okay, and then just leave. Or there's a chancy chance, which is based on, like one of these numbers. Or there's a high-risk chance, which requires you to be really proficient at one of these numbers. And then there's other stuff, okay? We're just going to... We'll leave this for now, because I wasn't expecting to be in there. All right, Tomb Colony, visit the first curator, gather gossip. Now I have a port report. I can go back and I can sell that, so that's why it's important. You always want to pick that up, because even though it's only 5 gold, it's still 5 gold, especially in the beta, because their balance issue is off. All right, so off we go again. Again, we pull up the map. Everything freezes while you're looking at the map, so you can stare at this as long as you want. You don't have to worry about running out of fuel or drifting into anything. Your boat is exactly where it is. We're heading up there, so I just want to make sure that my heading is on track, and indeed it is. And chances are we're going to run into something, but hopefully it won't be too big. So the Z-Bat goes out and he looks around. That way you don't have to go to every corner. He'll tell you if you're in the area. Your lights, toggle this off. This is how you repair yourself. Full power gives you like an instantaneous blast. No, why not? If you turn out your light, the bats won't come over and attack you. But I'm just going to hopefully kill them, and I didn't, which sucks. There we go. If you don't wait for this to go all the way around, there's a mischance. So you don't want that to happen. Can I just eat these? Oh, they become a supply. Okay, that's fine. Same. And clear. Every now and then when you kill something, you can actually eat it, which will get rid of all of your hunger. So technically that will save you a supply. But since it handed me a supply, that's the same deal. Pause is just pause. Gazette, you already know about. Chart, you already know about. And then the main menu just brings up the little menu I showed you before. So because you're a zombie, anything that lives can hurt you. So this is a life berg, which has 400 points. So it's incredibly difficult to take out. You don't want any part of that. So that's why I'm drifting over here. And now that we're in the light, I'm going to take this opportunity to turn off my light to save some fuel. And as weird as it sounds, that means a big difference, okay? You want to turn off your light whenever you get the chance. That way you can save on fuel. It's the only way that you're going to keep ahead of, ahead of the game in terms of currency. And let me just double check. I'm going to go, oops, this one. Because sometimes he sends you to Codex instead of the other one. Because they're both Weather. But I think he wants me to go specifically to Weather, so we're going to go over there. Down in the bottom left-hand corner here, this kind of just is something to read while you're going along. And then this lamp. Okay, now whenever you leave port, there is no lamp there. And then after, say about like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, this lamp will arrive, okay? And that's to indicate that now, the next time you go into port, there will be something to do. So if you go to port too quickly, which is actually possible, you can, get there just simply too quickly, then this lamp won't be there, and then when you pull into port, there's significantly less for you to do. But now we're here, we're gonna go to the dock. I think it's gonna be down here. Gather intelligence. All right, so, oh no, wait. That's just the port report. Explore the town, the riddling contract. Your contract riddles makes little sense to you. Ooh, that's fun. Shore leave. That's how you get rid of terror. You can actually send your guys into town. What am I missing? Oh, I don't have enough echo. Explore the town, maybe? Riddles are for children. Tough challenge, 32%. I don't want to risk it. All right, so we'll back out of that. I need more mirrors for that, so I'd have to be literally a different guy, because by the time I get to 75 mirrors, it's going to be like, I don't know, 20 hours from now. Because every time, so you can actually have dinner with one of these people, and when you do, they'll actually bump up one of these by 1 point. So since I need 75 mirrors, but I only have 34, I have to have dinner with one of these guys, like, 40 times, which is going to be a long time. And so far I haven't found any other way to bump this stuff up. I'm going to go in here. Strategic information. All right, so this is what the Admiral sent me for. I'm going to pick that up, and now I have basically 150 gold. Return to the Admiralty. I think we're good. Vámonos. So I'm not going to take you all the way back. I think you get a general idea of what this game is all about. It's mostly about reading and the story. There's a lot of cool stuff. Like, for instance, and this is a minor spoiler, but the very first port that you probably will ever come to is just outside of London. And it's got 3 sisters living in an old haunted mansion. And, you know, so you get to talk to them, and you get, you know, like, after you know them, not biblically, but, you know who they are, then that unlocks something elsewhere. And then after you talk to them a couple times, then that will unlock other things elsewhere. So there's all kinds of stuff based just on, you know, you go there, you have lunch, they, you know, do a really nice job, like, helping you. I'm going to turn off my light. Now, he can still see me because I'm lit. But if I go over here and shut off my engines, now I'm out of light. He can't see me, and hopefully he'll go back out to sea. And I think we're good. Of course, he's coming back, which is unfortunate. Stay away. There we go. Totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, so anyway, the sisters. So you're gonna get to learn all about the sisters, you know, and when they get into trouble, you'll be able to try and save them, and there's all kinds of stuff. So it's a lot of fun if you're interested in a story. If you're looking for combat and action, you can see there's a lot of drifting around here. All right, so at least in that regard, this game may not be for you. Now, let's talk about, I mean, it's not all roses, okay? There are some things in this game that I simply do not like, all right? This is your crew, right? You have I have 7 guys at the moment. The most you can have is 10. If it drops to 4, you will not be able to go to 2 on your throttle. You will only be able to go to 1, which means you will putt around this board like an old man on a golf course. It is awful, all right? And it takes you like 20 minutes to get back to London to buy guys so that you can be at normal speed again. That is just awful, all right? It was like one of the worst experiences ever. It was just bad. It was really bad. They should not do that. There were a couple times where I found a couple of spawn points where, so, you know, like one of the enemies that you can meet out here is a crab, all right? So I found this place where, like, a crab would spawn, and then I'd kill the crab, and then the next crab would spawn, and then, I'd kill that crab, and the next crab would spawn. And then, like, 12 crabs later, I was like, can I just please get past these crabs? Because if you don't, if they bump into you at all, technically you can dock with their ship. If they bump into you at all, then they're going to take some of your hull out, and that means that you have to waste some of your food on fixing your hull, which is inconvenient. So, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like that. This interface stuff, which, you know, again, I would really like it if they fixed. What sucks is I was planning on continuing to play this, so now, there we go. Light, by the way, so this searchlight, technically counts as light. So you can also turn off your lights when that is there as well, which is a good reason to kind of go visit the boat. Catch curiosities. What did I get? 2 supplies. Nice. And we're right around the corner from home. There are a lot of unique places. If you like exploration, this is really cool. One of the things that can happen to you is you can actually die, and then you can, if you have a will, you give all of your stuff to the next person in your lineage, and they take the boat out, and so thus you can float around and be them. So thus, at the beginning when I first started playing this, I was not Zam, I was some other guy. That guy sadly died, and so then Zam took over. Now, because I didn't have a will, I lost almost everything. The only thing that I kept was this map right here, because it takes so long to unlock all of this, I could not bear to part with it. So I would tell you that if you do die, that's the one thing that you have to keep. And it's going to say, what do you want to keep? The answer is the map. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Again, I really like the story. I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do with it in the future. But if you're not a story person, this probably isn't for you. But if you are a story person, if you like choices, and especially if you're the kind of person, collect my messages from the Harbor Master. If you're the kind of person who loves spending loot or basically currency, all these different kinds of currencies, if you like spending these on stories, that's a really cool feature of this game. So if for no other reason, that's something that you're going to want to check out. And the story as a whole, just the whole undead thing, Fallen London was popular for a reason. And, this is kind of a continuation of that. And it's written by the same guys, and it's, along the same genre and the same note. So there you go. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please click the like button, share it with your friends, or subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this in the future. I'm Angelic Mayhem, and I'll see you next time.